The story began with the protagonist, Ku, thinking that how he had always looked up to firefighters who were always helping others, and they were the heroes. Ku wanted to be like them, even though he had already given up on that dream. Just as he found himself in a very dark and strange place, he wondered if it was his last train to home after work. He saw a screen appear in front of him. It stated that he had been summoned to a different world and had to select his role for that world. His options were to be a brave man, a wise man, or a demon lord. Ku thought it was a very strange question, and he grew tired. He doubted he could fulfill a great destiny, and such troublesome situations were not his forte. He wasn't even a smart person, as evidenced by his choice to work for a black company. The same logic applied to being a king or a brave hero. Either way, it seemed like a death flag, and he didn't like the conclusion. Then, he asked if it was possible to choose the none option, and just as the words appeared on the screen, Ku chose the hidden option of none. If he selected a hidden option, he would acquire substandard abilities. The screen then indicated that he was about to transfer into a different world, where he would be blessed by both spirits and gods. Ku wondered about this turn of events. Suddenly, he found himself in the middle of a forest, bewildered by the unfamiliar surroundings. It felt real, not like a dream. As he touched the leaves, he questioned if this was a real but different world. Checking his pockets, he found nothing but his smartphone, wallet, and handkerchief. Uncertain of what to do in the forest, he noticed his profile appearing in front of him, revealing that he possessed some skills and a bunch of MP. Upon examining his status, Ku realized that it was like a game, making the situation even more entertaining. He discovered the skill Full Assist, which assisted him in various ways. Exploring further, he came across other skills. The screen prompted him to activate Full Assist to install skills faster, granting him the freedom to use his skills. After agreeing, Ku felt something different around him, and his profile informed him that the installation was completed, expressing gratitude for his patience. Ku sensed something flowing at the back of his head and decided to try it out. He began by experimenting with the item box, selecting a tree as a target. With a touch, the tree was stored in his storage, and a notification informed him that he now had a tree in his storage. Curious, Ku checked the dismantling function and discovered that he could primarily use demon corpses as food or material. Intrigued, he wondered if he could dismantle the tree and, deciding to find out, commanded it to be dismantled. The tree split into 5 woods. Ku contemplated the creation process and realized that one wood could be transformed into 5 sticks. Pondering this, he wondered if the wood wouldn't revert to being a tree. Curious to explore further, he used the creation function, extracting a stick and marveling at its somehow amazing quality. Then he read on the screen that his creation had reached rank 2 thanks to skill experience point acquisition, and more recipes would become available. He wondered if this meant that the more he created, the higher his rank would be, and the number of recipes would also increase. Finding this convenient, he pondered if he could open or close the window at will, deciding to switch from window mode to image mode, and the window disappeared. Ku realized that he could manage everything in his head and resolved to be careful in this regard. Excited by the prospect of exploring more recipes, he summoned an axe, acknowledging that he didn't know much about his appraisal skill and hadn't used the weapon before. With a new skill, Dexterity, he threw the axe, which struck a rock and split it into 2 parts. Shocked by this unexpected result, he wondered if it was strange to break a rock with wood. He pondered the fact that there were still some skills he didn't understand. Considering the possibilities, he believed that if so much was achievable, he should be able to manage in another world. Determined, he decided to raise the rank of the creation skill a bit and prepare some equipment. Slowly, he cleared the trees from his surroundings, raising the rank to 5. Reflecting on his experience, Ku realized 3 key things. Experience points were gained whenever creation was activated with a new recipe. A rank up occurred when the experience points reached a certain value, and existing recipes did not yield experience points, regardless of how many times they were repeated. Additionally, he discovered that the 8 items made from the trees each had their own granted effects. Curiously, the chair had a faint effect, and Ku wondered why a chair would have such a potentially dangerous effect. Observing the rays of the sun, he realized he needed to reach a village before sunset. Determined, he set out with that goal in mind. And then he started walking, and after a while, he said that he had walked a lot but still didn't feel tired. That was because of the transfer skill. Thanks to that skill, all his 5 senses were sharpened, like hearing something from a long distance. Coincidentally, he heard a voice that seemed like someone was scared. He ran towards that side and said that it was the voice of a screaming man, and Ku must have had to take a look there. And then he saw that there was a man with a carriage and an armored bear, which meant it was like a demon with a steel-like outer shell. Ku thought that it was a dangerous bear looking for a fight, but the merchant in front of the bear was trying to make the bear scared with a very small sword. Ku thought that the bear still hadn't noticed him, so it was his chance to run away from there. Then he wondered if that was really okay to do. And then he remembered that once he had wanted to be a firefighter to be able to do rescues and save people. Firefighters were really cool, and he had wanted to be like that. And he thought that what he was going to do at the current time was totally opposite from what he had thought. If he ran away, the merchant would get killed by the bear. Ku had to do something about that. He had already given up on the dream of becoming a hero, but he had the skills at that time. Then he ran towards the bear, and using the dexterity skill, he attacked the bear with the axe and cut off its head. The merchant was shocked to see that. Ku got near to him and thought that he didn't want to be the hero, but he wanted to be someone who would be able to help others. Then he moved his hand towards that merchant and asked if he was alright. The merchant thanked Ku for saving him and introduced himself as Chrome, looking like a typical merchant. Ku shared his name as well and marveled at Chrome's honesty. If possible, he'd like Chrome to vouch for him so that Ku wouldn't seem like a weird guy. Ku then took the head of the bear and told Chrome that, as he could see, Ku was a woodworker. Chrome denied this, saying that Ku didn't seem like a craftsman. Ku thought that it was as he suspected. Chrome then asked him if he made that wooden axe himself, noting that it was incredibly powerful, enough to defeat an armored bear in a single blow. Ku, confused, asked if an armored bear was really that strong of a monster. Chrome was shocked and asked if Ku didn't know. He then explained that the armored bear was an rank monster, capable of destroying small villages overnight when it started rampaging. Even attempts to subdue it were challenging because its body was as hard as armor, making most attacks ineffective. Ku realized that he had managed to defeat it with a wooden axe and found it quite amazing. Chrome agreed and mentioned that the sun was going to set soon, suggesting they head to his mansion, which was near the city ahead. Chrome just looked at the carriage. Ku asked if it was the carriage's baggage. Chrome explained that the coachman and the horse ran away when the bear attacked them, and although leaving the merchandise was regrettable, he had no means of carrying it. Ku wanted to help Chrome and asked if Chrome wanted him to carry it in his item box. Chrome didn't seem to understand at first, questioning whether there would be a problem concerning capacity. Ku reassured him, saying that the capacity of the item box was infinite. He then used his power to make the carriage and the bear go into storage. Chrome asked Ku who he was. Ku replied that he was only an ordinary woodworker. Chrome remarked that if Ku was ordinary, then the world would be ruled by woodworkers. Ku explained that he had been practicing in the mountains until that time and didn't understand common sense at all. They both started walking, and Ku thought that on the way to the city, he would try to gather information, pretending to be unfamiliar with common sense due to living in the mountains. Ku learned two things. There were two types of skills, talent type and intelligence type, which were present at birth and could never increase in number. There was a limit of 3 skills per person in this world. People in that world didn't have the concept of levels, and no matter how many monsters a normal person killed, explosive growth was not to be expected. Ku's abilities were normal, but it might be possible for him to aim to be the world's strongest. Ku asked Chrome why he didn't hire escorts for monsters like armored bears and others in the forest. Chrome explained that it was rare for such things to come out, and besides, he did hire escorts. When the mercenary guild guys saw the armored bear, they ran away. Ku thought it was a terrible story that those people would leave their client. Chrome continued, saying that he usually hired high-ranking adventurers from the guild, and it just so happened that they were out, so Chrome called the mercenary guild. Ku thought that the mercenary guild allowed irresponsible people to work, and Ku felt a bit distrustful. Chrome told him to look over there, and that city was Anan. Ku thought that it was a city in a different world, and there were elves or beastmen. Ku was getting very excited. Just then, they saw that around 3 people were saying something to the group of people and knights. One of those 3 said that an armored bear had come out, and they fought the bear desperately. Chrome was panicked and went straight into that. He was killed by the armored bear at last. A man sitting there acted as if something very wrong had been done to them. The main man among them said that if he only had the ability to, he could have protected Chrome. Ku gathered that those were the mercenaries who had run away, leaving Chrome alone. It looked like they were reporting fake news to save themselves from abandoning the quest. The knight said, so that means Chrome was killed. Just as Chrome and Ku approached them, Chrome said to them that he was alive. He introduced Ku and said that he was the one who saved Chrome. Ku thought, were they trying to shake him? Just then, those knights looked at Ku, and he thought that he must have to show them the evidence. He took out the head of the bear, introduced himself as a woodworker, and stated that he had already defeated the bear. The knights got scared upon seeing that and told Ku not to joke around. Then, one knight asked the 3 mercenaries why they had earlier claimed that Chrome was killed. The three mercenaries seemed abnormal, and Chrome explained that they didn't engage in any fight with the bear. Instead, they abandoned him and fled. The knight realized that all three were lying, and abandoning a quest that endangered people's lives was a great offense in that country. He apologized to Chrome for bringing him into the situation, and the knights began taking the three mercenaries away. However, the leader of the mercenaries got angry, drew his sword, and told Chrome that he had to apologize by dying. Ku thought that the man was being selfish, so he quickly intervened. He grabbed a chair and blocked the man's attack, and the man warned Ku not to get in his way. And just as Ku thought, he refused to accept that. Then, he swung the chair, hitting the man on the head and causing him to fall. Ku realized that it was the strengthening and the faint effect as he noticed that the other people were staring at him. One person told Ku that it wasn't bad that he hit the man. Another person said, "Wasn't that B-rank mercenary, Doc's?" They all congratulated Ku and mentioned that Doc's swordsmanship skill had always been overbearing. After that, Ku and Chrome proceeded by the carriage. Ku thought that the knight had been completely silent during the time he was being interrogated, which was natural given the fight in front of the guards. It was rather sympathetic, but he was saved, and he wondered if the mercenary guild would be alright. A knight informed them that there had been more and more troubles lately concerning the mercenary guild, while the adventurers guild was a well-regulated organization. Ku thought that thanks to Chrome, he was able to enter the city of Anand safely. As they made their way to Chrome's mansion, it seemed that Ku didn't have to worry about finding an inn for that night. Chrome informed Ku that they had arrived. Upon getting out of the carriage, Ku was shocked to see the mansion. He had been expecting something grand, but he hadn't anticipated that Chrome would be so wealthy as to own such a huge mansion. They entered, and a line of maids stood ready to welcome them. Chrome told Ku to enter, and after a luxurious meal, Ku found himself in a guest room that resembled a hotel room. He lay on a couch and expressed that he didn't want to return to modern days anymore. Ku considered that even if he could go back to Japan, he would only face his mundane company life. With no lover and his parents already passed, he honestly had no regrets in that world. The other world seemed better and more attractive. Ku contemplated that it might be a good idea to travel freely and enjoy the wonders of another world. He decided to find a place to stay the next day. The next morning, as he enjoyed tea with Chrome, Ku was shocked to learn that he was getting a month's worth of lodging. Chrome explained that it was a thank you gesture for Ku saving his life and because it was challenging to live alone in the mountains. Chrome suggested that, before anything else, Ku should get used to the town by relaxing at an inn. This inn, in particular, was owned by Chrome's company, ensuring quality service. Ku thought it was a good idea, realizing that Chrome wasn't just a merchant but the head of a large company called Scarlet Company. Chrome had disguised himself as a merchant, perhaps to prepare Ku for the idea that Chrome's son would eventually take over the position. Chrome expressed to Ku that fate had allowed them to meet, serving as a sort of retirement pay for Chrome. Ku modestly replied that it wasn't a big deal, and he simply had some nice skills. Deep down, he knew that the outcome was not solely the result of his own efforts. Again, Chrome called Ku and said that he would like to give Ku a piece of advice as an elderly person, drawing a good hand and using a good hand, creating a great contrast between the two. There were countless numbers of people who were unable to make use of their skills for good, but Ku made excellent use of his skills. Furthermore, Ku saved Chrome's life, so Ku should be proud of that. Ku thanked Chrome and said that he would remember that. Chrome told Ku that if he eventually wanted to see the world, it would be best to register in the Adventurers Guild. With his abilities, getting a high rank would be easy, and a guild card could also be used as a substitute for an ID card. Ku said that he would go and register at the guild. Chrome mentioned a story he had heard from a veteran adventurer about how Ku should wear armor when registering. Ku would be treated like a weakling if he dressed otherwise, and he should also refrain from talking politely. By going outside, Chrome said that was all he wanted to talk about. Ku thanked him again. Ku wondered where he could get the armor. He had an idea and thought that with his skills and materials, he could make it. So, he made the armor. He asked himself if he wanted to equip it and agreed with himself. He wore the armor, which also had the head of a bear, and he thought it was perfect for an adventurer. Then, he went to the guild, and everyone there was shocked to see him. An adventurer said, "Isn't that the armored bear armor?" Another one said, "It's the man who defeated the mercenaries last night." Others wondered what Ku was doing there and if he was planning to challenge someone else. Another person remarked that if that were the case, everyone would have already been massacred. Yet another person commented that if Ku was the adventurer, he must be an ORS rank adventurer. However, Ku thought of himself as just a rookie adventurer. As he approached the receptionist, the man there saw him and quickly excused himself, claiming to feel sick. The receptionist, Milia, welcomed Ku to the Adventurer Guild of the Onan branch. She complimented his attire as fashionable. The place where he stood was the general information window, and Milia asked if there was anything she could do for him. Ku mentioned that he had some work and recalled that Chrome had advised him not to use honorifics. He informed Milia that he wanted to register as an adventurer. Milia was shocked to hear this and apologized, assuming Ku was an active adventurer from a different country due to his well-equipped appearance. Ku clarified that he was a newbie. Milia reassured him, saying she didn't mind, and explained that he just needed to complete the Adventurers Guild form and then undergo a practical exam. Ku thought to himself that dealing with such bothersome documents was the same in both Japan and the other world. After finishing the form, he handed it to Milia. Milia stared at the form, and then she suggested that Ku fill in the appeal column, indicating that he was not good at rough activities. She asked if it was a joke, but Ku denied it, stating that he was serious and preferred to avoid fighting as much as possible. Milia accepted his preference, and she informed Ku that the next step was the practical exam. She inquired if he wanted to proceed with it. Curious about what the practical exam entailed, Ku asked Milia about the specifics. She explained that Ku would be sparring with an instructor, and on that day, the exam would be overseen by a former rank adventurer. She added that the instructor often boasted about being stronger than an armored bear, so the exam might be a bit challenging for Ku. Milia then escorted Ku to the underground training area, where more adventurers had gathered and were staring at him. Ku wondered why they were all gathered behind him. The people whispered that the instructor for the day was Jais, the self-proclaimed individual stronger than an armored bear. One person commented on their bets, mentioning that their money was on the bear killer. Ku realized what was happening. Milia called out to Ku, assuring him that he didn't have to defeat the instructor, and it was alright to lose as long as he was an adventurer. She expressed confidence that if it was Ku they were talking about, he would probably win anyway. However, Ku insisted that he wouldn't let his guard down and would give it his all. He then took out a large woody mallet, estimating its weight to be over 100 kilograms. Strangely, it didn't feel heavy at all, thanks to his strength S+. Waving the mallet, he generated a powerful wind pressure that caught the attention of those around him. The onlookers whispered that Ku was handling such a heavy hammer with ease. Another person remarked that it was expected of a bear killer, and someone else suggested that Jais might be in trouble. Jais came and called Ku by the name of the rumored bear killer, and then Jais threw his goggles aside and took his sword. He said to Ku that Ku seemed quite strong despite being young, but Jais mentioned that he would show Ku that there must be someone above Ku. Ku thought that the way Jais acted was like any veteran would, and he was sure Jais was pretty strong. Ku couldn't let his guard down. Milia asked both of them if they were ready, and she suggested starting the match. Ku wondered how that would work. Jais said to Ku that it was an exam, and Ku just had to come to Jais. Ku said that he got that, and by running, he said that he would take Jais up on that offer. He swung his mallet, but Jais dodged it. The mallet hit a box there and crushed it. Ku tried again, but once again, Jais dodged. Ku thought that avoiding a large swing with only minimal movements was a former rank for him. If Ku only attacked like that, he wouldn't be able to hit him. Then, he attacked Jais again, but Jais dodged and said that Ku's attacks were too big. There were gaps everywhere, and it was hard to avoid with a mallet that heavy. Just as he realized, there was no mallet in his hand, and it was in the storage. Jais asked, "What's that?" Ku swiftly took out the mallet from a different direction and attacked Jais' sword, breaking it entirely. The other adventurers who were present were shocked to see this. Milia arrived, stating that it was enough, and declared Ku the winner of the test. All the adventurers cheered for Ku, and one of them congratulated him, expressing surprise that Ku had actually won against Jais. They all appreciated him. Jais put his goggles back on and told Ku that it was his loss. He also appreciated Ku for his victory. Ku thanked Jais and asked if he was hurt. Jais replied that he didn't receive any wounds yet. He found Ku's use of the item box peculiar and mentioned that the world was truly wide. He thanked Ku for teaching him something different, and they had a handshake. Jais told Ku that he passed the exam and had high expectations for Ku in the future. After that, Ku received his adventurer card, and Milia said to him that she never imagined he would be able to defeat Jais in a single blow. He was really strong. Ku responded, saying that he wasn't that strong. He thought it was all thanks to his skills and wanted to emphasize that he was just a small fry, but it would be rude to go against the instructor. Milia requested Ku to refer to the booklet for the guild rules, and if he had time, she would explain the important points to him. She believed her explanation was easy to understand and recommended it. Ku was worried about what was going on there. Milia explained that firstly, there were 7 ranks of adventurers, and the guild would decide a rank up based on an adventurer's succession of requests and subjugation history. She also mentioned that giving false reports to the guild, client betrayal, and guild card forgery would result in punishment, so Ku didn't have to engage in such activities. Ku said that he would remember not to do that. Regarding accepting a quest, Milia explained that he had to bring the requests with the guild card to the counter. Ku thought it was a rather game-like system. Milia said that once he reached rank B, he would receive compensation money for injuries during subjugation and even a pension upon retirement. She suggested that he aim to become a B-rank adventurer and thanked him for listening to those points. Ku thought that if he considered the future, he would lose nothing in becoming a B-rank, and for the time being, he would focus on raising his rank. Milia suggested to Ku that he should go ahead and choose a quest to accept. She recommended a quest to collect 50 Naze grass. Ku asked, Naps grass? Milia explained that these grass could be found in the nearby forest, and they were used to make medicine. The client for this quest was the Pharmacists Guild, as they often received requests for it, especially since it only grew in monster-infested habitats. The reward for each Naze grass was 400 Cosma. Ku calculated that the total reward would be 20,000 Cosma, which he considered a pretty good deal. Milia mentioned that the demand for that medicine was high, and there were risk allowances provided. She emphasized an important point for Ku to listen to. A rookie adventurer's first quest was to be accompanied by a high-ranked adventurer. If Ku wanted, she could go and talk to some adventurers who were free. Ku asked if she was really going to ask someone and if it was that easy. Milia replied that he should believe in her negotiation skills, with a success rate of 100%, except when she failed. Ku said he was counting on her, and Milia assured him to leave it to her before leaving. Ku thought that he was relieved to become an adventurer without any delay, and that he needed to thank Chrome again when he got the chance to meet him. Chrome not only brought Ku to the guild but also provided him with a sum of 80,000 Cosma. Ku decided that he would do his shopping at the Scarlet Company as much as possible. Milia arrived with an adventurer, and she apologized for keeping him waiting. Ku looked at the adventurer and thought that her hair was like the sunset, with crimson eyes that sparkled like jewels and dragon horns. Milia introduced the lady adventurer as a rank adventurer from the Dragonfolk tribe, named Iris. Iris addressed Ku, mentioning that he was the rumored bear killer. She expressed that it was nice to meet him and suggested he call her Iris. Ku bowed in front of her, introducing himself as Q. He thanked her for coming despite being busy and expressed that he was counting on her guidance. As Iris looked at him, Ku realized that he used honorific speech out of habit. Iris assured him that he didn't need to be scared, they were both adventurers, so he could speak normally. Ku said he understood and encouraged her to correct anything else. Milia explained to Iris that Ku was very talented but grew up in the mountains without much common sense. It might have been troublesome for Iris, considering the differences in human common sense. Milia wondered if Iris found it challenging. Iris responded that she was the very suitable person for that task. Ku and Iris exited the location. Iris then inquired of Ku whether he had obtained what they needed to do first. He replied that they had to gather information initially and mentioned that whenever he played a game, he always bookmarked the cheat website first. Ku admitted that he didn't know anything about Naos grass initially, didn't know what it looked like, where it grew, and wanted to know the distribution map of the monsters in the area. Iris affirmed that he was correct and suggested that if Ku prepared properly, he would achieve good results, as expected from a rising star. Ku told Iris that she was overestimating him, to which Iris replied that Ku needed to know everything written in the booklet Milia had given him. Ku opened the book and observed that the first part contained the guild's terms of service, while the second part was filled with information, including material distribution on the map of the surrounding area. He remarked to Iris that it resembled a strategy book. Iris mentioned that Milia had created the book and originally worked at the guild headquarters in the royal capital. However, the current branch manager called her in to rebuild the guild branch in Anan. Iris noted the positive atmosphere of the guild and the good management with the current branch manager and Milia around. She expressed that getting along with Milia was beneficial, predicting that Milia would likely become an executive at the guild headquarters. Iris reassured Ku, saying that if he was Milia's favorite, he didn't need to worry. Ku wondered if he was Milia's favorite and acknowledged Milia's surprising talent. Iris then asked if there was anything else they needed. Ku replied, "Let's see, maybe," and mentioned that he didn't have anything else besides weapons and armor. Iris suggested going to the Adventurers Street, and there they bought rope, a torch, water bags, and a flint. Ku asked Iris to let him put all those things into his item box, and he proceeded to do so. Iris asked if the capacity would be enough, and Ku explained that the capacity of the item box was infinite. Iris was shocked to hear that it was infinite. Ku clarified that ordinary item boxes typically had small capacities and were considered a skill failure. Iris explained that there were many magic tools that performed better than the item box. As an example, she mentioned keeping a spear in a pouch, and high-ranking adventurers usually had magic items similar to that. Ku's item box wasn't a normal one. Ku thought that he had a lot more cheats, and now that the equipment was ready, he suggested starting their quest. And then they reached the Cello Forest. There, Ku began searching for Naos grass and eventually found one. He asked Iris if it was okay to take, and she confirmed, advising him to be careful when pulling it as it rooted itself, and the leaves would shred off if he slid his hands on it. Ku suggested they needed a scooper. Then, he thought of something different and touched the grass. Iris asked what was wrong, and Ku used his item box, placing the grass inside it. After that, he took out the grass with roots from his item box. Iris inquired about what he had done earlier, and he explained that he had used his item box to take the buried Naos grass, eliminating the need to pull it out and making the collection easier. Iris expressed surprise, noting that she thought the item box was a skill miss, but it could be used in that way. Ku said he found another one, and on that grass there were spots. Iris identified it as Naolaba grass, and Ku could distinguish it from Naos grass by the red spots. And that turned out to be a surprisingly tough quest. The Naolana grass grew distinctly from each other, requiring a lot of movement. Iris thought Ku had finally found one, and it turned out to be Naolana grass. The request was to collect 50, and it might take until evening to finish. Ku suggested being patient, and he thought it was time to use the skill called Artisan God's Eye. They found more Naos grass, and Ku explained that Artisan God's Eye was a skill that pinpointed the location of familiar items as specified, making it easy to find the rest once one was located. After about an hour of questing, he was able to gather the 50 Naos grass needed. Afterward, Ku mentioned they only needed to get back to the city. Iris asked if they finished the task in a short time, and Ku attributed it to his skill. Iris speculated that Milia would be shocked to see them finish so early. Iris noted that the quest was already over and asked if there was anything else Ku wanted to discuss. Ku mentioned there was, and he asked her some personal questions. And then he asked what type of people the Dragonfolk tribe was. Iris said that the dragons were the strongest and largest beasts that had roamed the earth since ancient times, and the Dragonfolk were descendants of that. Their lives were much longer than humans, and their bodies were also much stronger. Ku said that it made him envious. Iris stared at him, then apologized, saying that it was the first time he had heard it put that way. Ku asked, was that so? Iris said that most humans kept their distance from Dragonfolk mostly because they were afraid, and there was a horrible experience when they treated him like a monster. Koi apologized to her for that. She turned her face from him and said that she didn't mind, and those words made her happy. Then she gave a smile to him. Then they got to the guild, and there, Milia was shocked to hear that Ku had finished the quest of gathering the Naos grass. Ku put them in a cloth and said that was all of it. Milia said, let him count them all. After 5 minutes, Milia said that there was no mistake, those were all Naos grass, and they were really fresh, with the roots well intact. She asked how he was able to do that. Ku thought that, as he explained how he used the item box, Milia rolled her eyes for future quests mediations, and it seemed like she would be reporting them to the guild headquarters. Milia came and said that for collecting the grass and giving it to the guild was rewarding him with 20,000 Cosma, and if Ku's collection was allowed to merge, he might even get extra rewards. Iris said that it was as expected of the rising star. Ku said that it was only a coincidence. Iris said that it was also a coincidence that Ku had a big shot beside him. Ku thanked Iris for that. Ku thought that his first quest was a huge success, and currently, he was in front of the inn owned by Chrome, prepared to go to the Shotsuje. No matter how they looked at it, the lodging wasn't for adventurers. He got inside a corner and changed his clothes into formal attire, thinking he couldn't go with the wrong suit. As he entered a room, Ku observed that Chrome had arranged a suite on the top floor, bigger than his room in Japan. Ku wanted to go to dinner, but the restaurant was too expensive. He wondered if there was anything in the strategy book, and there he found one, and the gourmet guide recommended Kinkumate Ajniev's menu. Outside, it said that the grilled chicken of that restaurant was a hit. After dinner, he came out and thought that such good food for just 75 Cosmo was excellent. Back in the Black Company, getting a sip of wine after a meal was unthinkable. The new world was good, and he would do his best in the quest of the next day. The next day, he was in the Phatos Mountain, and he thought that he got the quest to subdue 5 lonely wolves. They were E-rank monsters, and as the name implies, they liked to act alone. Ku recalled Milia's words that the base reward for the wolf quest was 20,000 Cosma, but if he could get the wolf fur, he would get 5,000 Cosma per beast. Kuma thought that the adventurer's job was good, but he had already been searching for about an hour, finding 3 knife materials instead. They seemed to be usable in creation, and he would use them to make healing potions and detoxification potions. A container was required for liquid extraction, and he didn't want to put the healing potion in a water bag. He took out the healing potion in the water bag and said that it was probably an elixir at that time. And then he took a bit of that and thought that it tasted like mint. It somehow reminded him of the troop that kept cheating on sleep with mint tablets. Next up were the detoxification potions. He got the detoxification potions, and by looking at them, Ku said that they seemed like mouthwash. He tasted it and thought that it didn't seem like appraisal would lie about anything. The potion was pretty good. He heard a roaring sound from behind, and then he saw that it was the lonely wolf. Ku thought that he wouldn't even bother to comment on that, and then he said that since the target had come to him, there was no way he could let that go. As Ku took out the sword, the wolf just managed to attack him. Ku used the dexterity skill and sidestepped the wolf because he had already cut the head of that wolf. He looked at his sword and remarked that it was very sharp. It wasn't time to be shocked. He had to go collect its remains. Bringing the fur back would get him extra rewards. Just as he said that, there were only 4 left until he finished his quest, and they didn't seem that strong. He heard the voices of some more wolves, and then he battled them, cutting their heads. After that, he heard the voice of his profile, indicating that his experience points had been accumulated and reached level 9, increasing HP and MP. His physical abilities improved, and new automatic collection skill usage conditions were met. He continued to kill the wolves and stored them in his storage. He thought that it was apparently a skill that automatically collected monster remains, and Ku was really grateful that it saved him the trouble of collecting them. He also took out his axe and killed more wolves. He realized that there were a lot more. Ku looked around, wondering what was going on and if there was a sale for lonely wolves that day. He pondered how many more there might be. After killing the last one and storing it in the item box, he checked his storage item list and found 2031 lonely wolf corpses. Ku remarked that it was a monstrous army, despite their reputation for being solitary creatures. The situation was abnormal, and when he returned, he needed to report it to the guild. As he moved ahead, he encountered one more wolf, but this time it was a female lonely wolf. Upon examining her information, Ku discovered that she sought mates when pregnant. He thought that this might be the reason why the wolves were gathering, and he couldn't deny his responsibility for the situation. Despite that, he would not fall prey to the female wolf, and he proceeded to decapitate her as well. Ku's profile notified him that his experience points had accumulated, reaching level 16, and his HP, MP, and physical abilities had increased. Checking his profile, he remarked that his level had significantly risen that day, and his skills would likely improve with his level. If that were the case, he looked forward to it. Ku approached a pond and considered whether he should rest his body after having lunch. As he looked around, he noticed a girl and a boy who appeared tired. Ku approached them and inquired if they were all right. Both of them looked at Ku, and the boy noticed Ku's armor. The boy identified Ku as the bear killer, to which Ku responded that he was an E-rank adventurer and they could simply call him Ku. He observed the girl looking scared and asked if there was something wrong. The girl hesitated but mentioned that it would be better for them to get down from the mountain as soon as possible. Furious, Ku inquired if they were attacked by armored bears. The boy described the creature they encountered as resembling a giant spider, its size allowing it to move quickly, and it was black in color. The boy's hands shook as he shared the details. The girl added that a black spider was a dangerous monster, and if it truly was one, it should have been deeper into the mountains. Despite that, it seemed like those monsters had come out around their current location. Ku considered that the 2 individuals he encountered were E-rank adventurers and appeared to be on a gathering quest in the Phatos Mountains, which should have been a decent job with low risk. Unfortunately, they had encountered a black spider, a formidable opponent beyond the capabilities of rookies. The boy mentioned that they had unexpectedly come across an A-rank adventurer during the ordeal. The girl added that she believed the A-rank adventurer was a dragonfolk woman named Iris, and the spider they encountered was an A+ rank monster, much more horrifying than an armored bear. They were deeply grateful to Iris for protecting them. Ku expressed his curiosity about the situation, wondering about the well-being of Iris. He thought that while he had heard that dragonfolk were generally stronger than humans, He didn't know if Iris was still alive. Ku then asked if they remembered the location of the black spider and could guide him to the fastest way there. The boy pointed out the direction but insisted that Ku shouldn't mention to anyone that he was heading there. Ku clarified that he was going to find Iris, and both of them should just focus on getting back safely. The boy argued that Ku's decision was ridiculous and the task was too dangerous. Ku reassured him that he wasn't planning to face the black spider alone. The girl, understanding Ku's intentions, agreed that they should seek help from the guild. She asked Ku to take care of Iris, and the boy questioned if they were really going to leave it at that. The girl explained that she could hear the voices of the spirits, and they should let Ku go. Ku pondered the concept of spirits, recalling them from anime and games, and wondered what the spirits in this world were like. The girl clarified that spirits were invisible beings with power over various natural phenomena. She possessed the skill of spiritual guidance, and sometimes the spirits reached out to her. The boy added that spirit guidance had helped them numerous times. While he couldn't stop Ku if the spirits were involved, he advised Ku not to overdo anything. Ku departed from the encounter, and the girl wished him to be careful, hoping for the blessings of spirits and gods. Ku, with Iris in mind, began running, activating the skills of the armored bear armor, including hearing enhancement. He affirmed to himself that Iris must be alive, dispelling negative thoughts. As he ran, Ku reflected on his self-perception as a calm and collected person, realizing he may have misunderstood himself. He acknowledged that Iris seemed to be someone who could stir his emotions. Suddenly, he heard rustling sounds and stopped, deciding to investigate. Approaching the source, he discovered wolves under fallen trees and signs of destruction, as if something massive had rampaged through the area. Ku speculated whether the black spider was responsible. To his relief, he found Iris lying there, alive. However, he wondered why the black spider had left its prey and considered the possibility of a trap. Sensing vibrations in the ground, he quickly moved away and stood at a safe distance. Soon, the black spider emerged from the area he had just vacated. Ku thought that Eligitu, magic resistance, and poisonous fangs helped, and the spider was the fool who used Iris as bait and brought others down. That's what the others would expect from an A+ rank monster. Just the spider attacked him so quickly, but Ku managed to dodge that and thought that it was too quick. He took out his sword and used the dexterity skill to attack the spider's legs, making the spider step back. Ku thought that he couldn't seem to land anything fatal, and Ku needed to rescue Iris. He needed to end that battle before it was too late. Just as the spider attacked him immediately, Ku got struck by a tree and fell. He thought that the level up and the defensive armor saved him, but he accidentally dropped the cypress wood sword some distance away and needed to pick that up quickly. The spider used its thread to capture Ku. Ku thought that it was bad, and he wasn't able to break free. He wouldn't get out of there alive if the sharp things of the spider got into his body. He tried to focus on finding a way to escape. Then he thought that after he got sent there, he put an entire cypress tree into his item box. He did so, and the tree disappeared from there. Ku got away by rolling and wondered if he surprised the spider. And he thought that the item box could store anything he touched. That's how he was able to store both the tree and the thread that stuck him. He was also able to retrieve the wooden sword, and all that was left was to defeat the spider. Just as he saw Iris's spear, he took it in his hand and thought about Master Tang Q needing his help. He asked to lend his power. Ku attacked the spider with his sword, thinking that the size made it easy to avoid, and the sword was not all he had. He then attacked with the spear, causing damage to the spider and cut off one of its legs. Thinking that he was struggling just a moment ago didn't feel real, and Ku wasn't able to show the true extent of his abilities because he was too impatient. The spider tried to get away. Ku told it that it couldn't escape and that it would be the end. He jumped and thrust Iris's spear into the spider's body, immobilizing it, and then used his sword to cut the spider into 2 parts. He heard the voice of his profile that the experience points had accumulated and reached level 24. And his HP, MP, and physical abilities had increased. There was a new automapping skill, and the usage conditions were met. A map screen appeared in front of him, and he thought it seemed like the map of that world. But at that time, it didn't matter. He rushed towards Iris and noticed that she was barely alive, but she was breathing, and he needed to treat her quickly. Ku took out the healing potion with increased recovery amount S+ and increased recovery speed S+. He wondered if it would work, and to his relief, all of Iris's wounds disappeared. She opened her eyes and called his name. Iris told Ku to run away because there was a big spider. Ku reassured her that the spider was already defeated and thought that at that time, Iris still cared about others. She was really a nice person. Then he asked Iris if there was anything wrong with her body. She, with trembling words, said that even when she was able to die, she couldn't walk. Ku thought it might be because of the paralysis poison of the black spider. He told her to drink the detoxification potion, and she obediently drank it. After that, Ku asked Iris how she was feeling and if she was able to talk. Iris said that it was really amazing, and the poison was truly gone. She thanked Ku for saving her and mentioned that she owed him big time. Ku asked if she had other things to worry about. Iris said that she couldn't just leave it as it was. Ku suggested she take him out to dinner sometime. She asked if Ku was asking her on a date, to which Ku was astonished. Iris clarified that it was just a joke, an attempt to lighten the mood. She admitted she wasn't used to that kind of stuff and suggested they get back. However, she felt dizzy, and Ku held her. He mentioned that it looked like it was going to be tough for her to walk, and she apologized. Ku then carried her on his back. Iris commented that defeating the black spider wasn't like the armored bear, where he killed it in one go. She praised him for doing well by himself and asked if he wasn't scared at all. Ku replied that he was too busy trying to protect her and wasn't thinking of anything else. She hid her face and said it was nothing, just thanks to him. Then Ku took Iris to the guild as there were the boy and the girl whom he had met in the forest. The boy said not to say that Ku defeated the black spider. The girl said that it was good that there was no injury to Ku. Milia welcomed Ku and appreciated his quest. She asked if he wanted dinner or a bath. Ku said that first, he would give the reports of his quest. Then they made Iris lie in the rest room, and Ku with Milia was sitting in the Adventurers Guild reception office. Milia said that while Iris was getting ready, she wanted to hear the report from Ku, but before that, she was going to clue him in on one of her secrets. Ku thought that it was the Adventurers Guild staff ID card, and she was hiding her age with her finger. He wondered if there was anything wrong. Just as Ku noticed, Milia said that she was the assistant branch manager. She said that currently, the branch manager was on a business trip. Ku said that she had a very high position, so she acted like a receptionist. She said that the window work was a facade to the public eye, and she got to help out. Ku thought that he didn't think she would be in that position. Milia said that it wasn't like she minded that, and she wanted to reveal her identity to Ku out of sincerity. She was really grateful to him for the subjugation of the black spider, and without him, a lot of lives would have perished. On behalf of the Onin branch, she wished to express their sincere gratitude. And then she said, let's end the staff introduction there. And then she said, tell me about Ku's adventure. Ku said that it was going to be a bit of a long story, and he thought that he went on and explained what had happened after he left the guild. Milia seemed interested in the pack of lonely wolves he encountered. Milia said that they had some unknown traits, and she had to report that to the headquarters of the guild. Ku thought that Milia became more surprised when she checked his subjugation history. She surprisingly asked, did you subdue 2,048 male wolves all alone? And she asked, who are you? He thought that it went smoothly since those two briefed them on the black spider. Milia asked, what did you use? Sure, the black spider's hemp venom, and a cure for that doesn't really exist. Ku said, how should I put that? He thought, and then he explained that he made a potion and gave that to Milia, and he handed the potion over to them so that they could recreate a cure for the poison. It looked like the Onin branch management would have a meeting the next day, and they said they would raise Ku's adventurer ranking in the evening. Milia said that they would give rewards for subjugating monsters that were a rank or higher, and the black spider should be worth about 5 million. Ku was shocked and asked if that wasn't too much. Milia said that usually, a subjugation team with a rank adventurers would be formed, and they would split the money among them. Ku thought that now that he thinks about it, when they hit the entrance of the city, there were a bunch of adventurers there to rescue Ku and Iris. Ku then asked Milia where Iris's money was, as Iris had risked her life to save other rookie adventurers. Milia said that they would be giving her a suitable reward, as the Adventurers Guild rewards good deeds. Ku thought about Milia filing the report at that time, and Jais came over and said to Ku that Jais had heard all about him defeating a black spider all by himself. Jais mentioned that such talent only comes every 100 years. Ku said to Jais that Jais was selling Ku too high over there. Jais asked if he was free at that time. Ku said that he would go eat dinner outside and then head to the inn. Jais said that it was good news. And then the scene shifted to the restaurant where Ku got to have dinner, and someone said that the star of that day was there. Others looked at him, and one said that they had been waiting for Ku. Another one said that he was the bear killer, or they should call him the spider killer. Everyone there had fun with Ku. Ku was there with the boy and girl whom he had met in the forest. Ku thought that he felt like he was one of them. Just as the gate opened, Ku found that Iris was there. The others only looked at her. Ku wondered if people really didn't like dragonfolk and if there was something he could do about that. Then he got an idea. He told the boy to get up, even though the boy was fully drunk, and told Ku to wait. Ku said that Iris had come there, who saved both of their lives from the black spider. The boy understood, and he and the girl went to Iris. Bowing in front of her, they both thanked her for saving them in the forest from the black spider. Ku thanked Iris for her work and offered her a drink. She agreed and took it. Ku then called to everyone there and said that he wasn't the real hero. It was Iris who single-handedly went up against the black spider so that the two rookie adventurers could be saved and ran away. So, let's cheers to her bravery, and they all raised their glasses. Ku thought that maybe by that, Iris could start to become accepted. The scene shifted after 10 days in the guild, and their Ku thought that he had become accustomed to living there in Onan, although there were some slight adjustments. The first was his adventurer rank, which went from F to D directly. Milia was very happy to announce that it was the fastest promotion in history. Ku thought that to reach the C rank, he not only had to subjugate monsters but also had to do city quests. City quests were tasks like doing anything in the city except shopping. On that day, he had to be the assistant at the Kinkumade. As he entered, the man asked Ku what he wanted to wear. Ku greeted him and said that he would be in their care. The man told him that he didn't have to be polite and, anyway, just go do some prep work. Ku said that he understood and left it to him. Ku thought that he was not used to the adventurer's way of speaking. He then wore a male wolf's apron and thought about getting to his battlefield for the day, which was the kitchen. There, he met Akami and a female adventurer. Akami said to Ku that he came that day for work. The female adventurer mentioned that it had been a long time since they last saw each other. Ku thought that he had never cooked for himself back in Japan. He started chopping the vegetables and preparing the food, and others were clapping for him. They made lunch sandwiches, and the shop owner mentioned that he knew Ku was incredibly efficient, so they would give him an extra reward for the quest. Ku asked if that was all right, and the man said it was fine. He stated that good work meant food money, and that's what a man's worth was. Feeling emotional, Ku took the sandwich. The man asked him if the sandwich was spicy. Ku thought that it was something he would like to share with his company's management team. The second matter he had was to help with the city wall expansion. And due to the increase in population and the condition of the existing wall, it was demolished and undergoing renovation at that time. That was his fifth quest that day, personally requested by Ku. A dwarf man called Ku and said that he was counting on him. Ku thought that his job was to clear the debris from the construction and put them away in his item box. After that, he headed over to the east side, where the dwarven workshops were, and brought them the bricks from the construction site. A dwarf suggested to Ku that they should have a little sip before getting back to work, and another one mentioned that he had some good booze over there. Ku said that he would pass as he was in the middle of the quest. He thought that with that, the quests of that day were over. Ku went to the guild to report the results, and the reward was transferred to his account. Then, he took his leave from there. Just as he was leaving, Iris appreciated him and asked if he was done for the day. Ku agreed, and she asked about his plans. She mentioned it was a good coincidence and then asked if he had any plans later and suggested they have dinner together, or if he didn't want to, it was fine. Ku simply stated that he didn't feel like eating meat that day, perhaps beef, but definitely not chicken. Iris said that she knew a nice place, and Ku thought that she had been inviting him for dinner almost every day. The scene shifted to a restaurant, and there they were having the do beef stew. Ku commented that it was delicious, and there were no complaints. After the dinner, Iris asked him why he came to that city. Ku mentioned that he just happened to, and then he inquired about her. She hesitated to answer. Ku reassured her, saying that if it was difficult for her to say, she could forget about it. Iris responded that it wasn't difficult at all. She revealed that there was a huge underground city buried underneath Onan, and she was there to look for the ruins of an ancient civilization. Iris explained that a long time ago, a highly advanced magic civilization once existed on that continent, and life was apparently much more prosperous back then. They weren't threatened by din beasts, and the ancient civilization had eventually perished, but that had left traces there and scattered across the continent. Recent investigations foretold of a large underground city located somewhere near Onan. Ku said that so that's what Iris was searching for, and he thought of the ancient civilization. Speaking of a highly advanced ancient civilization, it was a common otherworld setting, and there had to be some ancient superweapons just resting in the ruins. Iris said that she didn't have any clues in that, and there were a fair amount of poems and documents about that, though she still didn't have a precise location for that. Ku said that it seemed interesting, and he thought that he didn't know if he had that recorded in the auto mapping of him. Just his map appears there. Iris asked what's that. Ku said that it was a map of the area, and did she want to look at that together. Iris said that she would take up on his offer, and then she got to sit next to him. Ku wasn't feeling good. She asked him what was the matter. He said that it was nothing, and he asked to show the location of the underground city. He thought that if that was easy, everyone would know where that was. They saw the underground entrance gate on the map. Ku said that it was inside the cello forest, so did they have to trust the map, and he asked Iris about that. She said that it was honestly amazing that they found where the underground city was, and did he want to go and try that the next day. Ku agreed with that. The next day, they both were in the cello forest, and their Ku said that according to the map, they were near the entrance. They reached a place where the path ended, and there were rocks. Ku thought that even though he had equipment using materials from the black spider, he guessed he wouldn't be able to use them that time. Iris just hit the rock and said that was there any hidden door somewhere on that cliff, and let's look around for a bit. Ku started doing that, and at a certain point, he felt something. He said that it seemed like there was something. Then he used his hand to move the rock but was unable to do that, and he thought that he had the super strength S+, but that still wouldn't budge. Iris asked that how about he put that in the item box. Ku said that it was a good idea. Ku did so, and there they found a door. Ku said that it would be the entrance of the underground city. Iris touched it and said that the warmth and was that perhaps the orichalcum. Ku thought that speaking of the orichalcum, it was another fantasy staple. Iris said that wasn't the orichalcum a rare metal, and it had the best anti-physical and anti-magical defenses of its class, but the processing technique for that had been long lost. And as they thought, that had to be the entrance, but there wasn't a doorknob, so how would they enter there? Ku saw something written on the door. It was written that whom whence from the farthest, art thou blessed by thine spirits. Ku wondered what the meaning of that was. Just then, he heard the voice that the status check was successful, and he was welcomed to that underground city. In order to judge the validity of granting master rights for the underground city, Iris said to look behind, and there was something. A provisional trial shall be initiated. Just an orichalcum golem appeared by that. Ku thought that it was made from orichalcum, and Ku found that quite unpleasant to deal with. The golem confirmed the target and initiated elimination. Iris got in front and said to Ku that she would act as a decoy, so he should just escape. An orichalcum golem was an S-rank threat, 1 rank higher than a black spider, and she fought one once, taking 20 A-rank adventurers just to barely beat it. They both didn't have food either. Ku moved ahead with his sword and said that he was not sure about that, and they would never know until they actually tried it. Let's decide on whether or not to run later. In the first place, it would leave a bad taste in his mouth if he abandoned someone to survive. The golem used laser magic, but they both managed to dodge that. Ku thought that so it was laser magic, and he didn't even want to know what would happen if he got hit. He thought that magic laser means it uses magic power, and if that's so, then he said to Iris that how did she defeat that guy last time. Iris said to aim for its eyes, and it was the only part not protected by orichalcum. Ku said that if they could get close, maybe they could win. Iris said that the laser would slice him up, and he couldn't get close. Ku said that he would be the shield and he would take all of the attacks, so he was counting on Iris to put the eyes out of commission. She asked what he had in his mind. Iris said that if they win that, Ku was as strong as the 19 A-rank adventurers. Ku said that it sounded like some interesting development, so let's move. They both headed toward the golem, and the golem attacked again with the laser. Ku blocked that with a shell-like on his hand. Iris was confused to see that. Ku thought that the black spider gauntlets granted effective magic absorption S+, and he just kept absorbing the golem's magic laser, and that would work. Just they both got close to the golem, and Ku told Iris to do it. Iris hit the eyes of the golem with her spear. The golem was going to fall. Ku said that he wouldn't let it. Then he used the thread of the spider and captured it in the thread. Ku thought that he didn't just absorb that guy's magic power and Black Spider's thread X. He used that magic power to convert that to the thread. And then Ku also hit the eyes of the golem, and the golem fell and just disappeared from there. Iris said that it powered off, and she wondered if they both won. Ku realized that his experience points accumulated and reached level 38, increasing his HP, MP, and physical abilities. The provisional trial had been terminated. Orichalcum Golem subjugation had been confirmed, and Underground City number 0 master rights had been granted to transfer Ku. Ku thought if he was wrong, but did he just become the Underground City's owner, so they could now finally open that door? Iris called Ku and thanked him for protecting her earlier, and it was thanks to him that she was still alive. Ku said that he should be the one thanking her, and he wouldn't have been able to do that alone. Iris said that she could not have done that alone either, but they worked well together, and they could make a great team. Then Ku said, let's get inside. The magic ladder verification completed, and the door welcomed Ku, calling him the master. Iris mentioned that an automatic collection, an item box, and a skill that displayed a map were part of the transferer's abilities. One talent produced items, and Ku was perhaps the transferer. There was a legend passed down among them about the dragonfolk, mentioning a blizzard entity in a distant land called Drona, which was said to possess an excessive amount of skills. Ku stated that he guessed that made sense. Indeed, he was a transferer, but he requested her to keep that as a secret. She said that she got that, and although she wondered if he could tell her more about it, like what kind of place his home was in, that it probably wasn't on that continent. Ku wondered what would happen if he told Iris that he was from a different world and whether she would even believe him to begin with. He said that it was the farthest place one could even imagine, and let's just keep it at that. Iris apologized for asking and suggested they just kick that under the rug. Ku said that it was not at all, and it's just that it's hard for him to explain that. Iris said that it was fine and she couldn't go back to her hometown as well, so she guessed the feelings mutual. Ku apologized for all the secrets. Iris said that she did not mind and she already knew that he could place her trust in. And then Ku said to her to look over there, and it looked like that lengthy tunnel was about to end. They both ran and got to an open grassland area. Iris said that they went to where the underground city was. Ku said that it was more or less underground. Just then, he heard a rustling sound, and they both got into an attacking position. A slime came there, running away from someone, and he told them that they got it wrong. He wasn't the bad monster. In fact, he wasn't a monster at all. Ku learned about that slime and wondered if the slime belonged to that place. Then Ku said that it didn't look like an enemy. The slime saw them, mentioned that they scared him for a while, and then referred to Ku with the title of master. He said that they were the helper slimes. Ku wondered about the slime's statement, and the slime explained that they were created for the sake of the master and had been waiting for 4,000 years. One slime said he could handle chores and was the great builder. Another mentioned working in fields and tending to livestock. Yet another slime said to call out to them whenever the master was in a pinch, and all of them urged Ku to take care of them. Ku agreed, and Iris sat down, touching a slime with her finger. The slime said that it tickled, making her happy. Ku asked her what she was doing, and she hid her face, apologizing. Then Ku asked if she liked cute things, and she admitted that she couldn't deny that. A slime called out to Ku, asking if he allowed him to explain the underground city to them. Ku affirmed that he was allowing it and counting on him. The slime explained that the underground city was built as a sanctuary in case the need ever arises. Even though it might look like a grassland for now, they would soon erect a city. It was the perfect time to bring their preparations to a close. Ku realized that Full Assist had established a link to the underground city's mainframe. The status check was completed, hidden conditions were met, and the effects of the creating skill had been expanded. He felt somewhat unwell and mentioned that he understood. He thought that 2 functions were added to creation with the condition he was in the underground city. And then he made a small ball and blew it, and Ku suggested trying to make a building. He left the ball, and it found a place where a house instantly appeared. Ku thought this was the new function number 1, where any excess magic power would be expended during production as building materials. He realized he could get 5 building materials per second. The second new function allowed building materials to be used in constructing structures. If he issued instructions to the photosphere, it could construct a house for him. Ku said that it was going to be fun. All the slimes were in shock, and one of them asked what he had just done. Ku explained that this was how they were going to build the city. The slime insisted that it wasn't that and definitely not that. Didn't Ku have the building directives skill? If he did, he was supposed to instruct them in building the city. Ku explained that he didn't have such a skill and thought that going by Full Assist Z, he could tell that he was a special case. The slime said that it seemed like Ku had the creation skill, and that was a god's skill, and only people who had been recognized could have that. Another one said that Ku was amazing and nothing less than their master. The second one said that if that was the master, the city was bound to be a great one. Another one said that the place was going to be pretty. Iris said that it was her first time hearing about a creation skill, and Ku was going to make an enemy out of every carpenter with that skill. Ku said that it was not limited to only houses, there were weapons, armor, and potions. From tableware to chairs, he said to name that, and he would make that. Iris said that she stood corrected, and he would make an enemy out of every craftsman with that skill. A slime said that the underground city was still far from complete, and that's why they were glad that Ku would be constructing a magnificent city. And one said that he was sure the underground city would prove itself useful in the future. Ku said that he understood, but the city would have to wait for a while, and the remains of the ancient civilization that were still functioning were a huge archaeological discovery, and would be all right for them to do whatever they wanted with that. Iris suggested that they should report to the guild at least once. Ku said that he guessed and thought to report information, consult, its hour ensue, and they returned to the Onin for the time being. Then they had the leave from there and got to the guild, and their Ku said that he wished he could have taken one of them home, and he thought that it was sad to say, but there was something preventing them from leaving. Then he asked the receptionist if Milia was there. The receptionist said that Milia had to attend an emergency meeting as a proxy to the branch head, and if Ku had business with her, he could put it forward for him, and would he like her to? Ku said that it was unnecessary, and there was a matter he wished to report. The lady said that she acknowledged, and once he was ready, he could start with the report. Just Ku said that the truth was they had discovered the underground city of an ancient. The lady said very normally that the underground city was of an ancient civilization and just realized and stopped. And then she was shocked to hear that. Iris said that it was the popular talk about an underground city near the area of Onin, and Ku found its ruins still functional up to that time. They'd like to discuss future endeavors and how that should be handled. Just then, the lady ran and said to have some patience and sit in the reception office, and she would consult with a superior. Then Ku and Iris went to the reception office and sat there. Ku thought that a scholar from the royal capital was staying right there in Onin, and he would try to finish his lunch as fast as he could before they got there. Iris said that the sandwich there seemed good. Ku said that it was Kinkumade's special item, and then he asked Iris if she wanted that. She thanked him and asked him to take whatever he liked, and then they both started eating, and Ku said that he would go for the fried. And now he knew that she was so good at cooking. Iris said that she liked to cook in her free time, and she always ate by herself, and she guessed it was a bit sad to not have someone to compliment. Ku thought that Iris liked to try new things and was a great cook, and that day was quite a day to discover unexpected sides of Iris. Then he said that it looked like the place. Just then, a man arrived. Ku thought that he was expecting an old man when they said scholar. The man apologized for making them wait and introduced himself as Larry, the third son of a dukedom. They could see that Larry was an archaeologist. Ku thought that, given his noble status, he should be bowing. However, Larry asked them to forgive him, stating it was all right. He acknowledged that he was a noble, but he requested them to treat him as if he were Lu's equal. Larry mentioned he was terrible at formalities, causing his body to start itching. Well then, he asked them to tell him all about that underground city and requested them to share all the details. Then Ku and Iris took Larry to that entrance. Larry said that was the entrance of the underground city, and he touched the door, saying that it was orichalcum and that it had existed in such a size. It had divine luster, making him want to slather his tongue all over it. Iris remarked that who knew that some people could get off from a single door. Ku suggested that they get in so they could move ahead. The magic pattern was verified, and the door welcomed Master Ku. Larry noticed that and asked Joy Tang if the door just called Ku Master. Ku thought that he hadn't told Larry about that, even though he did inform Larry that he found that place through auto-mapping. Carrie came with them to see if that was real. Larry was shocked to hear that they both defeated an orichalcum, and Ku thought that Larry was completely dumbfounded by that. Then they got out of the tunnel, and there Larry said that was the underground city. There was the smell of grass and the breeze of the wind, not even a speck of an underground environment. Larry said that it was beyond his imagination, and the history of archaeology would change forever. He wondered why he hadn't written down the contents for his thesis. Just then, the slime arrived and said that the master, as well as Iris, had come. The slime noticed Larry and mentioned that it was the first time they had met, introducing itself as the helper slime. Larry was shocked to see that, and he remarked that weren't helper slimes supposed to be magical creatures. The slime asked if that person knew about them. Larry explained that he was an expert on ancient civilizations, thinking they were a hoax given the name being a joke, yet they actually existed. He then asked if those slimes made that house. The slime clarified that they hadn't built that house, the master built it in an instant. Larry asked Ku if he did that. Ku replied that the master of that place could build almost anything. Larry said that although it was called an underground city, it was basically empty, and thus Master Ku was given the responsibility to develop it. Ku questioned if it was really alright for an amateur to mess around with that place, and that's why he went back to make a report. Larry clarified that no, he was really glad that it was Ku who found it. Most people would just vandalize it without notifying them. It seemed like Ku knew how important that was to history, and Larry thanked him for that. Larry expressed that he would be grateful to Ku forever and told Ku to let him know if he needed anything. Ku thought that there wasn't anything he needed at the moment. Then, he asked Ekri to tell him more about the ancient civilization, mentioning that there was nothing he didn't know, so just ask away. After that, all three of them went to the house. Larry commented that it felt weird going barefoot outdoors. Ku explained that apparently, the ancient civilization strictly prohibited shoes indoors, and that wasn't anything new to him either. It was like Ku was at the house back in Japan. And could that be that the world was Earth far into the future? Ku hadn't thought of that, and he might be wrong since he was called a transformer. Larry said that he would explain. The ancient civilization, so to speak, was a flourishing civilization in that world from about 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. They possessed highly advanced lost magic technology, and the sky was the limit. They might have even extended their reach to other stars and planets. People couldn't live without their lamps, showers, or stoves, and even the guild card and the subjugation history reader. All of those things were excavated from ruins and further produced. But that's only a fraction of the story. Going to and from the continent with a flying technical bird, conversing with distant people with a palm-sized box. Who thought that space travel with aircraft and smartphones made that ancient civilization sound pretty close to the previous world of Ku. It was a society where magic was developed instead of science. Larry said that at that point, they were suddenly brought to destruction, and with the advanced magic technologies lost, their ancestors lost their magnificence. Ku asked why they perished and if there was some sort of world war. Larry replied that he didn't know any details, but according to recent investigations, the calamity was what they referred to as that monster, and it's very likely the cause of the destruction. Ku was shocked to hear that the cause was an unknown monster, and he had a bad feeling. He hoped that wasn't the reason for his transfer there. Iris mentioned that there were mentions of that calamity in her people's legends, and both the dragonfolk and humanity joined forces against that calamity. Larry added that it was a crushing defeat, and the dragonfolk lost everything they had. After the calamity went on a rampage, it went into slumber somewhere on that world. Within the last 6 months, monsters had been acting up throughout the continent, and if that wasn't a sign of the calamity's awakening, he didn't know what was. An armored bear and a black spider, residing deep in the mountains, appeared near Annan, and a pack of lonely wolves popped up in thousands, and there's no way in hell that's not out of the ordinary. Ku thought that even though they had advanced magic technology, the ancient civilization still lost, and the calamity might reawaken in that age. Then he said that he didn't think it was like that. A slime appeared with tea and snacks, serving them on the table and telling them to have what they want. Ku took a bite and remarked that it was very good. They finished everything and said that it was surely very delicious.